First, I'm going to introduce us to them. We are women of Kente Presbyterian United Church Women, and we're proud of it. We are also part, and I will show first you, this is Van de White, right? She does this. The map of Conference UCW. Conference in the United Church of Canada stretches from way over near Smith Falls, and there's some people here from the Smith Falls area, right over to Oshawa, Ajax, Pickering, and so forth, up to way north of Peterborough, and we're the little green spot in the middle. So that the green is us. Green is our color, and we are Kente Presbyterial, that's the word we use, which is part of the larger Conference of the United Church. In this group today, there are about 10 to 12 people from outside of Kente Presbyterial, and the rest of us are from the 20 churches that stretch from Picton up to Madoc and between the Highway 62 and 37 corridor, roughly. Okay. Last year, the Conference UCW, on the Day of Pink, by coincidence, passed a motion to begin a discerning process to become an affirming ministry. And it was a wonderful coincidence because Day of Pink, and there are some handouts down there for the church people with a liturgy on the back. It's like a bulletin for your church service with a liturgy on the back and an explanation of the Day of Pink on the front. And I know that the students here are well aware that Day of Pink is a day where communities across the country and across the world unite in celebrating diversity and raising awareness to stop homophobic, transphobic, and other forms of bullying. It's always the second Wednesday of April, and millions of people wear pink to remember that positive actions make a difference, and the change starts with each one of us. Our vision statement is this: as United Church Women, something we're all familiar with. We believe that as Christian women of faith, we nurture spirituality by reaching out with commitment and devotion to all God's people, in promoting truth, justice, peace, caring and sharing, with respect for all in the community and wider world. So that's who we are. And then you turn to the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board webpage, and you listen to the vision statement of the students of this school area, which coincidentally pretty well matches ours, although it also takes in parts of Lennox and Addington and parts of the Trenton area that we don't. And this is the vision statement that you will see on the webpage of the school board. We envision an inclusive education system in Ontario in which all students, parents, and other members of the school community are welcomed and respected. Every student is supported and inspired to succeed in a culture of high expectations for learning. To achieve an equitable and inclusive school climate, school boards and schools will strive to ensure that all members of the school community feel safe, comfortable, and accepted. We want all staff and students to value diversity and to demonstrate respect for others and a commitment to establishing a just, caring society. So when you listen to the United Church vision statement and when you listen to the Board of Education vision statement, you see that we have much in common. And we welcome you by coincidence again on what in many communities is the Anti-Bullying Awareness Day. And you may be referring to that as you speak, I'm not sure, but it's always, in some communities, many communities, the last Wednesday of February each year. And it's totally by coincidence that that's our annual meeting of Kente Presbytery, and we're so glad to have you with us on that day. Thank you.
GSA of Mara Secondary School. Everyone wave when I say your names. We've got Ben Ben Basic down at the end, Andrew James, Fiona Stanners, and our newest member, Aaron, McKinnon. There we go. And I'm Savannah Paduch, and this is our coordinator, Miss Cooper, over here. Just to start, what does GSA stand for? Originally, we had it stand for Gay Straight Alliance, but over the past few months, we've decided to broaden that and changed it to Gender Sexuality Alliance, so that it's not very in a box, it's very open and inclusive. And our main goal is just to include everyone in the school and in the community and know that no matter who you are, we are here for you, we are your family, and there's always a place to go no matter what the situation. Our agenda today, we have Ms. Cooper talking about the history of GSA and why it's important then and why it's important now. We have Ben sharing some personal stories and some activities we've had at the school. Fiona and Andrew will talk about a video that we filmed that you will also get to see on these televisions. Fiona has personal stories as well, and just a lot of what we do and what we do to help the community. So, Ms. Cooper, would you like to come up?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Savannah. Our GSA started at Moira Secondary School 6 years ago. I think we were the very first school in the board to have a GSA. And it started 6 years ago because of the need of one person in particular, but that need is apparent and still active in our school and our communities. So the one gentleman who changed my life and changed the GSA and changed our school community for good always used to hang out in what is the IB office, and I'm the International Baccalaureate Coordinator. The basic gist of the reason for IB is for the acceptance of global diversity. So we have a community diversity, but IB is looking beyond that and expanding that. So naturally, we have a lot of students who like to hang out in the IB office or the IB workroom with their friends. So Tyler would always, we'll call him Tyler, would always be there. He was lovely, he was always happy, he was always, ready and willing to do anything for you. And one aspect that changed my life forever was when he wasn't so happy one day, and I found out the reason why, and that reason shocked me. He hung out in the IB office because it was so close to the front door. His father could drop him off, he would walk 2 steps and be in the safety and security of that room. He was afraid to walk through the halls by himself. He would wait for his friends to come to meet him so that they would walk him to his classes because he was being bullied because of how he dressed, the way he spoke, because of his sexuality, and the way he just was. So when I found that out, I realized we had to change things, and we had to change things for the better. And creating the GSA was one way for us to make the school a safer place for Tyler and for others who might be feeling the same way he was. For myself personally, I know that in my heart of hearts, I would not be able to live with myself if I allowed someone to be in as much pain as Tyler was, and to be in a state of suicidal intent as Tyler was, without doing something. So for me personally, I had to support as much as I could that change, because that change has made all the difference in the world for Tyler and for many of our students in our schools. Tyler has long since graduated, he's in school, he's doing amazingly well, and is a bright, young, lovely individual still. So thank you very much, Tyler, if you're listening, for that introduction for me. The GSA that started as an effort to help one person has blossomed into a group of students advocating and organizing whole school events and initiatives. Students who want to make a positive change and create an environment where we all feel welcome and we all feel valued for who we are. I volunteered to be part of this because of the essence of that and how beautiful it is and how compassionate that message is. At Moira, our GSA has a passion to ensure equality and inclusion. We ensure students feel safe and are encourage students to have their own voice, because it's only from the students can we find out the things that need to be changed. And from students, they have great ideas of different things that we can be doing each day and each week and each year at school. Our GSA is strong because we are a united force. We work closely with student council, with our mentors, with our mentor advisors, with the clubs and activities like Global Awareness, with the classes like Drama in the Community, with our teachers, and with our administrators. It's not one group doing this, it is the whole school doing this. And that's a huge part of who we are at Moira. Our work helps to create that welcoming environment, and we hear that every time we have visitors to our school. They often comment about how welcoming our atmosphere is, and again, it's one sort of community that makes that presence. And I, for my part, I'm honored to be a part of the GSA and be part of something that these kids create, because it is their creation. They have the power to do this, and they have the power to change. So I'd like to recognize our next guest speaker, who's a lovely student leader, Ben Basic, who will talk about a few of our initiatives.
As Ms. Cooper said, I'm a student at Moyer Secondary School. I'm in grade 11 currently, and I'm part of the IB program, which Ms. Cooper coordinates. She's also my English teacher, so it's a bonus. I get to see her so many times a day, which is lovely because she's a lovely person. Moyer is, as Ms. Cooper said, a very, very accepting community based on our GSA and all the student voice initiatives that we run at the school. However, personally, I haven't always been able to find a nice spot to go in school. I haven't always been at Moyer for high school. In grade 9, I was actually in a school in Toronto where I lived with my father at the time. I transferred to Moyer in grade 10 and finished and I'm currently still there. So elementary school, which was also in Toronto, wasn't exactly a great time for me. You don't expect to go to elementary school with kids who are the same age as you in grade 4 and grade 5 and start being called things like lady, fat, faggot, words such as that. It's really hurtful, and it can really impact your experience throughout your elementary school, especially at such a young age. You tend to start developing these views about yourself that are not very positive and don't conduct a very inclusive environment in your head or in the school around you and in the actions that you take with other people. All this bullying carried through my elementary school, grade 6, 7, 8, and it only worsened over time. But it didn't truly reach the level it did until I reached grade 9, where in April of that year I came out to my school as gay. I was one of the only people at that time to do that, and everyone was like, wow, he's gay, let's make fun of him. Let's call him names, let's treat him horribly, let's follow him to class and stare at him through the window and be like, haha, you're gay, stuff like that. And that wasn't very good, clearly. It was actually a terrible experience for me. It worsened my spirit. It dragged me down, and it made me feel sad almost every day. I didn't feel safe in a school environment, which is what a school environment should be, is safe to people. And I didn't feel safe walking through those doors every day. I didn't feel safe even talking to my own friends, knowing that at any moment they could be calling me these horrible, horrible names, and I wouldn't ever feel better from it. It's not like I can just take away the pain. It would always be there with me. The pain didn't stop just at school either. At home with my father, things were bad as well. Ever since I came out as gay, I wasn't accepted by him. He would repeatedly call me names. He would be abusive both verbally, physically, and emotionally to me. And I found that I couldn't even take this issue that I had at home to school with me and talk to anyone about it because of how unsafe I felt at school. I didn't feel that there was a single adult in the building that I could go to and approach and talk about my problems with. I didn't feel like I had a friend in the world who I could talk to my problems about. And that is what we're striving here at Moira today, to find someone, at least one person, who you can be confident and happy with enough to go and sit down and talk about your problems. That will make you smile every morning, and that will make you feel as safe as you can be with them. Moving to Moira, I remember on the very, very first day of class, walking into school, first period math class. I was already dreading it because it was math class. And I had a girl, one of my friends, let's call her Hannah, walking into class, and she said, "Whoa, I saw you this morning. You're on my friend's bus." And just right after that moment, I became suddenly this glittering, shiny thing that everyone flocked to and wanted to touch and poke and inspect. And it's like, oh, it's new, let's talk to it. And yeah, I wasn't really used to that. People talking to me, it was so weird, and especially in the manner that they were talking to me in such a positive way. Whenever we would have group projects, even on the first, second, third day of school, people would be throwing themselves at me saying, "Oh, be in my group, come with me, be over here, we don't want you to be alone." And I just found that was so spectacular, that even though these kids who who aren't directly involved in the GSA or maybe in student voice initiatives such as these, they are feeling the impact of these initiatives, and they're going out and they're using these teachings that they're taking from speeches from GSA or from student council and applying them to students to make them feel more comfortable within the school. I became a part of this anti-bullying movement and the GSA here. I became involved also in student voice, student council, and the mentors, making sure that the grade 9s coming into our school feel as welcome as they can be and feel as safe and comfortable as they can be. I attended the first GSA meeting of the year last year where Ms. Cooper, she brought me in and she knew my name already, which I found was so weird because I didn't think she knew my name because I'd never met her before that time, but she was like, "Hi, Ben," and I was like, "Oh." Yeah. So I walked into the meeting and I immediately began becoming involved in numerous GSA activities such as planning anti-bullying assemblies, anti-hate day assemblies, pride parties in the front foyer, and say one nice thing videos and other events, and random act of kindness week, just doing as much as I can to make people feel not like I felt in grade 9. From this, I moved on to more student voice initiatives as well, including the Anti-Bullying Week kickoff presentation, which was at Moira last year. We invited certain trustees from the Hastings Prince Edward District School Board over to our school, and we presented them a video titled "Make It Better Now," made by the Student Voice team, which is available on our YouTube channel if you would like to see it. But we invited them all in and we talked about how you can make people feel better in the now, in the present, rather than, oh, let's do it later, let's put that on the back burner, no, you need to do it now. So we talked to them about that and the many student voice initiatives that we're running at the school, such as mentoring, all those things, and what we're going to be doing in the future of our student voice. And this future took us to the school board itself when they invited us to the board to talk to further trustees, the superintendent, the director of education, about our student voice initiatives to get ourselves more exposed to the public about what we're doing and why we want to make people feel this way in our schools, because it is very important. And from this as well, we were able to take our presentation. It was me and Fiona and four other student voice team members. We went to the Ministry of Education's Speak Out conference in Toronto, where we gave one of 2 keynote addresses about the inclusivity and the Make It Better Now in our school. We talked to upwards of 300 people about what we're doing in the now to make people feel more inclusive, and it positively impacted other schools. I remember having many conversations over countless days with teachers at other schools and students at other schools asking me what they can do to make people feel more included at their school. So our school has made a huge impact on the anti-bullying approach, not only in our board, but in the district, in the ministry as a whole for our province, which is a fantastic thing. And I don't think that many schools realize that just little things can make a huge impact on people. Like, for example, these 2 pride flags that we have here, they were the first thing I noticed when I came in, and they just instantly made me so happy. Like, I felt like they were 2 outstretched arms reaching in and hugging me. It was so lovely, and I thank you for that, putting that out, because it made me feel welcome and safe within this environment. And the most recent student voice initiative we did at the school was our anti-bullying assembly, which Fiona and I actually led back in November, I believe, yes, and which we included this video in. The theme of the assembly was "Say One Nice Thing." We wanted to have people go around the school and say one nice thing to each other just to brighten someone's day on occasion. So I just want to introduce our next speaker, who was actually one of the leads on taking charge in this video, and that's Andrew James over here, who helped us hugely in the Say One Nice Thing movement. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you, guys. Hello, I'm Andrew. So when I was tasked with organizing the Say One Nice Thing video, the original idea was to have it set up in the foyer. We wanted to encourage people to say one nice thing, think about just doing a positive thing in a day. Now, when we had it in the foyer, we had it set up kind of like a booth where people could just voluntarily walk up, we'd say, "Hey, want to say one nice thing?" Unfortunately, not too many people volunteered when it was front and center in the foyer, and it was kind of discouraging. We thought, oh, is the school environment not as positive as we thought? But at that point, instead of keeping it there, out in the open, at the front doors and everything, we decided to walk around the school, find people where they were hanging out, and actually go up and ask them if they want to be part of the video and say one nice thing. And once we did that, we found that people were just very open to the idea, they were very polite, and many people had something positive to say, something nice that they wanted to put in front of the school. The message that I took from that is that it's not all the time that we necessarily think of saying something nice or something positive. It's not necessarily always at the front of our mind. We try to avoid saying anything negative, but we don't necessarily take the action ourselves, which is why it is important to create videos like this to remind people that it can just be a very nice thing and very supportive to just have a small message to give to someone else to brighten their day. With that, I think we can play the video.
One day of sympathy. Every single day that I get to work with Student Council is a wonderful day. They inspire me to be a better person, and they do amazing things in our school. Shout out to Monty for coming to all of our school events and supporting our trophy pride.
And thanks to Ms. Bachelor for always being organized and so smart.
I just want to thank the guidance team for being so amazingly patient and understanding and helping me plan the post-secondary. Shout out to Mr. Summers for being so sweet. Look at all these smart kids.
A big shout out to my wife, Mrs. Doyle, for all her help with TTV and helping out with our photography class.
I like your hair. Rise against AIDS. Stay positive.
You're sweeter than candy! You're sweeter than fiction!
Smile. It looks good on you. I like your friends.
Spread the smiles!
What I would like to say is that Ward is a great school. We have some very nice people here, and you have some very nice hair.
That's great because she's smart and good at biology and chemistry, and she do exactly as funny, but just great as funny.
Kayla is not afraid of who she is and has awesome style and is so
Thank you. Alright, you are always super, super awesome. I love walking down the hallways and seeing all the teachers being so supportive and seeing all the students just doing their own thing, and I love how it's super accepting here. So thanks, Moira.
One nice thing I really love about Ben Basic is he knows what he wants and he's not afraid to go out and get it. He wears what he wants, and I love it.
I love you.
Next request.
God created human nature. He created everyone equal, and we need to respect that.
It's great to be accepted as part of Moira. Destinations doesn't get a lot of play, so it's nice to be accepted.
Don't hate, appreciate. I love John. He's my favorite. If you were fruit, you'd be a pineapple.
You're great.
You're wonderful.
My name is Miguel Maqueda. I come from Spain. I'm an international student, and I think that Simon is a pretty cool guy.
Spread the love.
It was so nice to get the Remembrance Assembly yesterday and see the respect that our students showed our guest speakers of it. I was truly proud of all our students.
Just remember, at the end of the day, be happy with yourself, and that's the most important thing.
Say one nice thing.
So thank you for watching. Now I would like to introduce our next speaker. She is a driving force behind the GSA. She is a very talented member of our school community. She has the organization to get things done and the inspiration to think of new ideas. The lovely Fiona Stanners.
Alright, so we wanted to show you that video just as an example of how we try to spread our message through creativity and positivity and compassion. We really value the voices that we have at Moira, and we have a variety of wonderful voices that we like to capture with videos such as that. So I'd like to talk a little bit about our goal of GSA. So of course we want to improve our school environment and our school community. And that comes from the smallest things to the biggest things. So the smallest things like people in the hallway saying that something is gay in a negative way, to the biggest things like someone really seriously being bullied. And we do that through a number of initiatives, some of which Ben, Savannah, and Ms. Cooper have mentioned. I'd like to mention some more. So our events of Anti-Bullying Week, which is a really big time for us, we have things such as the Pride Party, face painting, posters, and all sorts of lovely events that we use to spread what we're doing in our committee to the rest of the school, as well as make us a visible community, so that people can see that we're a safe space and people can see what we're doing. We were able to make our pledge banner, which we actually brought with us today, somewhere. And basically our pledge banner, maybe we'll get it out, maybe we won't. And what we did is we asked students to just say one thing that they were going to do to make the school a better place, to make inclusivity even that much better, so that we could focus on not only things that we're already doing, but the things that we'll do in the future. And maybe it'll show up, maybe it won't. But in the meantime, I'll also talk about our Pride flag. So last year we were able, for the first time, to raise the Pride flag at our school. This was something that was very dear to all of our hearts because, again, it makes us visible in the community, not only to our students, but to everyone that comes in, to show that we are an accepting and we are a proud community in our school. We also do information over the announcements, so this can be letting people know that it's Bisexual Pride Day, to letting people know the day of Harvey Milk's assassination in San Francisco. Here's the banner! So I'll let you guys see that because it's really lovely and it's a really beautiful representation of who we are at our school. In a little heart. So there's our banner. And like I said, so information over the announcements. One of the ways that hate and anger is built and comes to fruition is through ignorance, through lack of knowledge of what's going on. So what we want to do is not only show ourselves to be a safe space, but also to let people know facts about the LGBTQ community and let people know those things that they don't necessarily know. So we are also able to work with teachers to spread the message that we're spreading through our committee so that we can bring change from more than one place, from not only the students and from GSA, but also from the teachers and the administrative forces, so that we really have an all-united front that Ms. Cooper was talking about. So on that note, why is inclusivity important? So to me personally, I have always been different. I've always been an other. And it was made very clear to me from a very young age when I cut my hair short for the first time. I grew up in California and I was used to a very liberal environment. But suddenly when I became visibly different, there was a problem. And I was bullied from such a young age because people didn't understand just that was how I expressed my gender. People thought, oh, you're a boy because you have short hair. Oh, you can't come in the girls' washroom, you're a boy. And it was so hard for me because it was something I innately knew to be true about myself that was being attacked by other people. So when I moved to Canada, that never changed. I came to a less accepting environment. I moved to a small town where people they weren't used to it. They didn't understand different people. And I hadn't changed as a person. I was still weird and different and funky. So it continued, that feeling of otherness. So I learned from such a young age that inclusivity is important because I saw the lack of it. I knew how it felt to not be included. So it is so important to our self-worth to receive that acceptance from other people. I remember specifically when I was walking through Belleville when I had first come to high school, and I saw a church with a rainbow flag on their door, and their pledge to accept everyone, no matter what their sexuality was, or gender, or race, or anything. And it may seem like a very small thing, just a flag on the door, but to me, it was so important. It was someone reaching out their hand to me. It was someone saying, that's okay. You can be the way you are. And it's really those small things that are so important. It's the big things, of course, as well, but we forget how important those small things are. Because when you're struggling on the inside, when someone else reaches out to you and says, I know your struggle, and I welcome you, it's extremely important. And that's why what we're doing at GSA is so important to people like me and to people like Ben and everyone on our GSA. Because we're opening our arms to people that have struggled so long on the inside from people who won't do the same. So that's really what I see personally, the goal for GSA is by helping others to become more honest within themselves and to learn how to accept themselves, we are also doing it within ourselves as well. So that's GSA to me.
So that's really all we have to say about GSA. We just gave you a little glimpse. We're hoping that today you can take something from that and understand that something that may seem very small and minor to you can make a huge difference on us or to anyone really. Just if anyone has any questions now,